Alrighty, we are live about 30 seconds after 7. I'm sorry about that, my lord, technical difficulties. But hello, welcome to September, welcome to Tuesday. Grab a glass, get a bottle of wine. Kathy Clifton, hello handsome. What a way to start. Good evening, Kathy. Love you, if I told you. This is a first, listening in the car. Unfortunately, no tasting. Well, Mary Ann Grablunas, we appreciate you being responsible, but drive safely. There's Kevin Norfleet, James Belitho. Hey, Sarah Crown, our lovely wine club manager, is with us this evening. That's always exciting. There's Linda Sims, Laura Purdy. Happy Tuesday to you as well. We've got Suzanne Barber, Brenda Kelsey, Donna Goff, as always, Lynn Pentos, Lanny White. How are you, sir? Suzanne, doing well. There's Virginia Wine Time, Paul and Warren. Always lovely to see you guys. Jeff Thorpe from Prince William County, and go blue. Well, all right. OHIO, just for you, Mr. Thorpe. There's Kimberly Angel. Michael France is with us. Tracy France is with us. Good evening to you, Tracy. There's Dennis Sugameli. Greetings from the Boston area. What are you guys doing up north? There's Susan Glenn, Erica Johansson, Teresa Quigley from Florida. Teresa, lovely for you to join us. Thank you for joining us. There's Linda Irvin. And who else is there? Sachiko Sakamaki. That was the first sort of kind of crack at it. So let me know if I got that wrong or right. I appreciate it. There's Neil Glazer. How are you, sir? How are things going at Horton Vineyards? God bless you and your family, and send my best to the Hortons. And good luck for harvest, by the way. I hope 2020 goes well. There's Sylvia Miller, Tony Robinson, and there's Allison and Tony. Good evening to you guys. And we're excited to be with you as always. Tonight we're talking about a really, really cool wine, and that is our Trevillian, our 2017. And yes, the backdrop has changed, as you can see. I am in front of the vineyard in our Vineyard. Obviously, not taken this year because there wouldn't be any grapes there. But we are in front of the vineyard with the beautiful manor house just behind me. And we're talking about Trevillian White. I have the 17. I hope you do too. An incredible vintage, a wine that I have not had the pleasure of drinking for quite a while. So I'm really, really excited to jump into it, although I've already sort of sampled it. I also, by the way, have the 2019, a wine that we have just released as officially as of yesterday. So grab a glass, grab a wine. If it's the Trevillian, pour it nice and cold in a tall, thin glass. If you don't have the Trevillian, pour yourself your favorite Keswick wine. And if you don't have a Keswick wine, make sure it's Virginian. All right, so let's give it another minute or two and welcome those that have joined us. Chico Sakamaki says, I am originally from Japan, one of my favorite countries we ever visited. Our family and I were in Kyoto, Osaka, Tokyo, Himeji. Loved your country, but lovely to have you. Let's see, who else is there? There's Mark Scharfenmeyer. We need a Buckeye fan here as well, so absolutely. Well, so let's jump right into it. I've got 2 glasses because I'm going to do a side-by-side, and obviously the 2017, which is the wine that we're focusing on. So we're going to make sure it's a healthy pour, and just for sort of interest's sake, because we are sort of transitioning over to the 2019, I'd love to see it. First, obviously, difference you can see, 2017 was bottled with a technical cork, and 2019 under screw cap. So if everybody is with me, you're feeling good, you've had a great weekend, you've had a great Monday and Tuesday, let's taste some wines, because after 6 days and 23 hours, it is that time. It's to swirl, sip, sniff, drink, learn something new, have some fun, have you ask some questions. Hopefully we can answer all of them, and we'll go from there. So if you don't mind, maybe we shall begin. And let me first say this, that as always, the most important thing in the world is, how are you? What are you grateful about? What is getting you going? I know the world is pretty negative and dour and down, but what are you grateful for? For me, I'm grateful for my family. I'm grateful for my health. and I hope you are too. So I hope you're well. I hope you're having a great day. I hope you've had a great weekend. The weather was a bit rough, but hopefully we're past that now. So let's dive into a wine that, we don't always do. And we've been talking about a couple of wines and varietals. Now, obviously, tonight we're talking about a blend under the name Trevillian. So the first question, obviously, is where does the name come from? And that's a great question. We do the Trevillian White and the Trevillian Red. But the Trevillian was the Battle of Trevillian Station, also called Trevillian, and it was fought on June 11th to 12th in 1864 in Union Lieutenant General Ulysses Grant's Overland campaign, and that was against the Confederate Robert E. Lee's Army of Northern Virginia. And there was a cavalry battle, and the under Major General Philip Sheridan, he fought against the Confederate cavalry under Major Generals Wade Hampton and Fitzhugh Lee, and this was the bloodiest and the largest cavalry battle of the war. Again, we're talking about 1864, June 11th through the 12th. Now, Sheridan's objectives for his raid were to destroy stretches of the Virginia Central Railroad and then provide a diversion that would occupy Confederate cavalry from understanding Grant's planned crossing of the James River, and then to link up with the army of Major General David Hunter of Charlottesville. Now, who won the battle? There's... People say it was the Confederates. There were more sort of Union soldiers lost than Confederates. But that's what Trevillian is. It's an ode to a little bit of a history, which is just down the road from us. And that is the Trevillian, right? So it's certainly not a varietal. It's a generic name. It has a sort of historical connotation with the area around us. And hopefully that explains it for you. All right. So what are we talking about? We're talking obviously about a white wine. From the 2017, let me hold it up against my shirt rather. There's the 17, there's the 19. As you can see, the 17 has a little bit of a darker color, which you would expect, having been in the bottle almost 2 years. The Trevillian, the 19 that we've just released, has only been for a few months. So it's a blend. A blend of what? Well, it's quite a few things, actually. If you go through very, very simply, it's 30% Chardonnay, 30% Viognier, 20% Vidal Blanc, 10% Verdejo, and 10% Traminette. Now, that doesn't tell you the whole story, because it's actually the 30% Viognier comes from 4 different blocks on the property. Some was hand-picked, some was machine-picked. The Chardonnay was 2 different blocks. One was actually a vineyard within a Monticello AVA, the other was our state fruit. The Vidal, that actually came from Williamsburg Winery in 2017, as did the Traminette, and the Verdejo, as you know, is planted on the estate as well. Okay, so what makes this wine a little bit different? What makes this wine a little bit unique? Well, we've been talking a lot about how we make our wines, and when it goes into the press, we're talking about press fractions. The free run, the juice that sort of comes out of the press, just based on the weight of the fruit, because we're putting 5 to 7 tons of fruit in there. The more you press it, the more phenolic, the more bitter, the chemistry changes. And we always talk about using the light to the medium press for the varietal wines. Now, what happens to the remaining juice? What happens to the juice that's still in the press that we can get out of the grapes? Well, we collect all those press fractions, and it makes the Trevillian. So that's what it is. It's the medium to the heavy press fractions from all the lots that we make in a particular vintage. So let's show you a couple of things. So firstly, the harvester. We do both machine and hand harvesting, and there's very sort of different sort of ways we can tackle this. The machine harvester is very efficient, it's very quick, it takes the fruit off very quickly, but what it does is it's actually de-stemming, and it actually breaks the berry apart. So we have exposure to air and temperatures really, really quickly. You can see it's a G3, it's a Gregoire, it's a toe behind. Now, if we're going in by hand, let me see if I can do this. That's the fruit we're looking at. That's just pre-picking, and that's a photo taken from 2017. The fruit is there's no rot. We've tested the sugars, we've looked at the pH, we've looked at the acidity, we're ready to pick. So the first sort of quality control is in the hands of a skilled labor. You're picking, really, really, really good fruit. So we pick them into 25-pound lug boxes, or we pick them into macro bins, which could hold 600, 700, 800 pounds. Let me see. And we are, there they are. And there's the fruit. Comes in, it gets chilled for 24 to 48 hours. Now those are slotted macro bins, so it gets a little bit more cooler throughout the bin itself. And that fruit is now ready for the press. Now the press is exactly the machine that does what the name suggests. It's going to actually press the grapes and the juice is going to start coming out. Now it's a bladder press. It runs length to length on the cylinder. Half the cylinder is perforated, and as the bag expands with air, that bag hits the fruit and that juice comes out. Now when we're harvesting the Chardonnay and the Viognier, we're using, again, the free run, the light to maybe the medium press juice, for the Viognier varietal, the signature Chardonnay, or whatever it may be. What we extract at the end of the press cycle, at that 1.5 to 2 hour kind of press cycle, we collect and we collect and we collect. Now, so the first thing is, this is not a field blend, right? So the Chardonnay, the Viognier, the Vidal, the Traminette, they're all harvested, singularly. They're all harvested on their own sort of characteristics, the sugar, the acid, the aromatic intensity, the flavor development, whatever the parameter is. We're picking those grapes specifically with the intention of making a single varietal wine. All right, the byproduct of, we don't want to waste anything, right? We have the opportunity to make this really kind of complex, unique, quite an abstract blended wine. We have the opportunity to obviously make the Trevillian, but that's the difference. So we kind of get the fruit into the press. There it is, very carefully. We dump it into the press, and that's that. We do use dry ice. We sometimes make wines very oxidatively, and sometimes we make wines very reductively. And with that, we try and sort of eliminate the exposure of oxygen. We use dry ice, which blankets the press panel or the juice, and we have dry ice in the tank. We have dry ice in the lines. And that's to preserve the freshness, the integrity, the aromatics, because oxygen can do a lot of things to juice. It can brown it, can mute the flavors, and with sort of warmer temperatures, because we're harvesting this in sort of last couple of days in August, but generally through the first or second week of September, we want to make sure. Also, what dry ice does is it kind of cools the juice down as well, because we're doing it on the crush pad. It's not indoors, it's not sort of cool, but we get that juice into a tank that's really, really cold, and that's how we do it. So that is essentially the process, all right, of where the name comes from and where the varietals and how the blends come to be. So it's really not a something that we kind of think about the blend. It really is what it is. With blending, when we blend our Bordeaux like a heritage, we're sitting in a lab and we're taking this and this and this, and we're really sort of kind of analyzing how much Cab, how much Merlot, how much Petit Verdot, whatever it may be. We're sort of exhausting many options. With this, it's essentially what comes out of the press that is not really deemed of the quality that goes into our reserve or our single varietal wines. I hope that explains it a little bit more. All right, so the varietals. Chardonnay, obviously very famous in Burgundy, which is where it originates. Viognier, brought to France by the Romans, very famous in the northern Rhone, Condrieu, Chateaubriand. It's a varietal that if you drink Virginia wines, you know a little bit about. Very perfumey, aromatic, peaches, apricots, pineapple, white flowers, beautifully aromatic, but can sometimes be a little oily and devoid of acidity. So sometimes Viogniers can be quite flabby. Verdejo we've spoken about. Verdejo is a Spanish grape. It's very famous in the Rueda region in Spain, originally thought to have originated from northern Africa. Traminette's an interesting one. Traminette is a cross between Gewürztraminer and another hybrid. And then Vidal is a cross between a hybrid and Ugni Blanc, also known as Trebbiano. So you've got these really interesting, different characters, different personalities that come into it. Now, we make each of the press fraction, we keep them separate. It's not that we just put them all together. So the Chardonnay press fraction is in a barrel, as is the Viognier and the tank or whatever it may be, because 75% of this wine was barrel fermented and matured, meaning the juice, before it turns into wine, goes into a barrel, and that's where it goes through alcoholic fermentation. And fermentation is very simply the sugar turning into alcohol. The remainder 25% was in tank. So you're going to get sort of texture, you're going to get weight, you're going to get sort of influence of the barrel. Now we're using French oak and we're using 500 litre barrels, which are more sort of puncheon style barrels. The common barrique is 225 or 228 liters. Why is the size of the barrel important? Because you've got a lot more wine in contact with very little surface area, and what we want to do is to create a wine that doesn't taste like a barrel. We always talk about wines wanting to be unique and characterful. When wines taste like oak, and that's what you smell and what you taste, I feel the wines lose a little bit of their character, a little bit of their vibrancy, a little bit of their soul. What is the soul? What is the heartbeat of a winery? It's really the vineyard. Remember, we talk so much about the vineyard being the individual personality of the farm, and that's what we really want to express in the grape. So that's our philosophy. I've just explained it to you. We want you to smell and taste in the glass of wine how the grape was grown, where the grape was grown. We never want you to taste the wine and how it was made. That is very sort of secondary, and that's really, really important. We want you to taste a grape and smell the grape from where it is grown, in the area that it was grown, the terroir, the soil, the elevation, the row orientation, the sunshine, the rainfall, all of that, right? So that's it. So we kind of go through the fermentation. We blended it right at the end. Now, we don't just blend and stick it in a bottle. There's some stuff we got to do. We don't talk a lot about wine processes, but if you notice, the wine is beautifully clear, and transparent. There's nothing floating in it. We do a couple of things, part of which is filtration. And this is prior to bottling. The wines have actually been cold stabilized. We freeze the wines, for a couple of weeks. And what that does is it precipitates potassium bitartrate, those wine crystals. If we didn't do it, you'd get the wine, you stick it in your freezer, you want to pull it out for dinner or your dinner party, and those little crystals would be floating around. Are they harmful? No. But again, wine is so psychological, and you taste wines with your eye. So we've done that. We've made sure the wine is protein stable. We actually put clay in it, and that's to make sure there's no haze or anything like that. But then we have to filter the wines. And why we filter it? Because we have to sterile filter it, meaning we have to pull out any bacteria or the yeast that can conduct a re-fermentation in the bottle. Because number one, these wines are ML block. We actually retain as much of the natural acidity, which is the malic acid, versus turning it into lactic acid. So that green apple acid, malic, malum, Latin word for green apple, that tart, vibrant, crisp vibrancy on the tip of your tongue, versus the softer, creamier, richer, weighter lactic acid that you get more in the back of the palate. So we filter the wines, and there's different types of filters. There's crossflow, there's lenticular. This is very simply a plate and frame. That's me loading up the filter. And the wine goes through those filter sheets made out of perlite. And what does it do? It really does that. That's cool, really cool sort of photograph to show you why we filter. And if you look in the background, you see the tank. It's actually covered in ice, and that's held at 28 degrees. That is the temperature at which we cold stabilize. But that is pre-fermentation on the right, which looks somewhat clear. Not anything wrong or untoward with that. But that is post-filtered on the left. So there is a major difference. What are we filtering out? Not only yeast and bacteria, we're also filtering colloids. And what are colloids? Colloids are basically mixtures, substances that one substance is dispersed amongst another. So there is a school of thought that filtration strips and changes the organoleptic flavor, aromatically, the palate of the wine. And we must admit that we do taste, and we taste pre and post, partly because we want to see that the filtration is doing the right thing, but we also want to taste. We want to make sure that we're not over-filtering the wine, over-fining the wine. Again, we want to amplify the wine. And when you have a vintage like 2017, which was so phenomenal, our jobs are really to be minimalistic, to be expressionists more than anything else. I don't know if that's a word, but we want to express in the glass, again, everything about the ripeness, the sugars, the flavors, the aromas, especially when you're dealing with like Traminette, which is so spicy and floral, and Viognier. You want a little bit of that pithiness that comes from the Vidal. Chardonnay shows terroir more than anything. And when we grow it on our shale and schist, you get those lovely citrus and stone fruit kind of characters and those bright sort of minerality kind of tones in there as well. And then at the end of the day, what we do, and hopefully you have, is a beautiful glass of wine. And that's what it looks like. And that's the process. Very, very simply, very quickly, and I hope that explains it. So let's dive into it. It's 20 minutes. I know I talk very quickly and a lot about the wine. I'm excited. I'm really excited because we don't get to taste a lot of wines that had some age on it. And here's the thing. I think some people kind of do themselves a disservice by drinking white wines immediately. Everyone talks about reds and reds aging 2 years, 5 years, 7 years, 10 years. the right whites, with a little bit of age, develop these tones and nuances and these complexities that are quite incredible. Now, what do I remember about this wine? I remember sort of initially being uninspired and unintrigued, kind of going, yeah, there's a home for it, we're going to make, and then going through fermentation, kind of going, I've got to keep my eye on this wine. There's something going on here. And I remember really, really liking it. So I'm excited to taste it again. So let me take the photos off. I hope that sort of gave you the journey and the process. But we're talking about the wine as it is in the bottle. And that, at the end of the day, is how you judge a winery, how you judge the vintage is what's in the glass, right? So here we go. So first thing, cheers to your health, your safety, your well-being. God bless all of you. Hope you're doing well. We send our best wishes. We hope we can see you at the winery sometime soon. So salute. All right. So again, I'll have to do it over there. So again, the color is a little bit different between the two wines. You can see that this is the 19 and this is the 17. So the 17 is showing a little bit more of that golden yellow, that sort of straw color, which you sort of see with time in a bottle. The more oxidized and aging really is the rate of what oxygen does to the wine. That's probably the easiest way to explain, right? So it's noticeable and it's quite acceptable that the 19 is a little bit younger and paler in color. Also, because the 19 is exclusively tank fermented, where the again the 17 is 75% barrel fermented as well. But again, you can see beautifully clear. There's no sediment, there's no flocculation, there's no sort of crystals, there's nothing untoward that would make you go, something's wrong with this wine as well. So eyesight, beautiful, looks great, nothing wrong with that as well. But as we always say, sniffy sniff, it's the thing that really is going to catch you. It's going to make your mouth salivate. It's going to make you want to drink that wine. So you're going to give it a swirl. And again, not there. Stick your schnoz in there. Really get in there and smell and smell and smell. All right. So the first initial sort of attack is, it's quite tropical. It has a little bit of that sort of banana rather kind of character, but there's this really lovely papaya, mango, almost like a fruit salad. When you make fruit salad and you cut up all the fruits and you put the juiciness of the pineapple and the mango and the apricot, have this wonderful sort of fragrance there as well. But it's all yellow fruit. There's some sort of apple skin, red apple skin. I don't know if you peel the apples. I just eat it like that. But if you peel the apples, you get that sort of red apple skin. And then you get sort of some nice sort of honeyed and sort of honeysuckle kind of characters in there as well. And that, when I think of sort of honeyed or honeysuckle, I think maybe it's got a little bit of age on there as well. But the nose is actually quite vibrant, especially for press fractions. What does a press fraction do, by the way? One question was asked, how does the chemistry change? The sugars don't really change that much, but what does change is the pH. And the phenolic extraction in the wine. So when you really kind of press the skins, because you're extracting potassium is going to precipitate the natural tartaric acid. The pH is going to go up. And really, we want pH to be kind of low, not really high, because then we have to add a bunch of acid. But more importantly, you get that sort of bitterness, that pithiness on the back boost. Now you're getting the influence of the skins. And there's less influence when you very lightly press it. You're going to get a lot more of the influence when you heavily press it. So in years where the grapes are a little bit underripe, pressing very gently is critically important. In 17, obviously the fruit was a lot more, riper physiologically and phenologically. So we didn't have that much of that bitterness component from what I remember. Again, this is a couple of vintages ago. But the nose is really expressive. But I'm getting a lot more sort of that mango kind of juiciness there as well. I really like it. The one thing I'm not getting is a lot of oak. I'm not getting any toasty, brioche, bready, yeast, autolysis. I'm not getting diacetyl. Diacetyl is butter. It's also known as butane-dione. Butane, 4 carbons, 2 carbonyl groups, 2 oxygen double bonded to a carbon. Butane-dione, also known as diacetyl. I'm not getting any butter, popcorn, anything like that. So I'm not getting a lot of the oak influence, which is kind of exciting, because what I'm hoping now is you're going to pick up the oak and its influence on the wine texturally and the weight and sort of the richness of the wine, but I'm not getting it on the nose. The primary or the floral aromas and the fruit aromas are really, really kind of aromatic and really expressive. This is This is quite exciting for a wine that's now been in the bottle for 2 years, made from juice that we would say is not worth going into our varietal program. So again, cheers. So put the wine in your mouth, give it a rinse, swallow, quick thing. You might have had coffee, tea, another wine, so rinse your mouth and then jump right in again. So quick taste. And again, that's interesting. I didn't smell the oak on the wine, but I can taste it a little bit. It's also got this warmth. I need to look at what the alcohol content was, because when you have warmth, 14% for a white. So again, excuse me, 14. You're looking at around 23.8, 24.5, somewhere there, depending on your conversion factor. So we're dealing with sort of riper fruit. But there is a little bit of warmth, there's a little bit of heat on the palate. Not where it's medicinal or the alcohol really comes through, but you can taste that this is a bigger wine. Again, just to confirm. The other thing, there's not a hell of a lot of acidity, right? This is definitely a wine in the mid to the back palate. It's got lovely entry. It's got nice fruit. It's got lovely sort of flavors as it goes in. But this wine really has weight and texture, and it has a richness to it. It's not built on that acidity, and I think this is where the barrels are coming into play here as well. So you can still taste it. That's the other thing, the length of the wine, which is really important. Once you've kind of swallowed the wine, you don't want the wine just to disappear really quickly. You want to remember it. The longer it stays in your mouth, the length of the wine is really important. But again, I'm getting... You can definitely taste that this is seen some oak, but it's not bad oak. It's not sweet oak. A lot of American oak has a lot of sort of vanillin and coconutty kind of characteristics, and has that sort of sweet saccharide kind of character in there as well. This is really nicely integrated. The oak, I think, the French oak we used was very tight grain, 28 ml barrels, and again the size of the barrel. But I'm definitely getting that yellow fruit. But I'm definitely getting that slight bitterness. When you drink a beer like an IPA, and you have those bitterness units, but it's not bitterness where it's off-putting. It's just the character. I'm thinking that's probably the Vidal that comes through. Vidal tends to have that sort of phenolic kind of grip and that slight bitterness on the back end as well. Again, let me know if you're drinking this wine. What do you think? I'm just talking. I haven't seen the comments yet. Kat's writing down the questions, but I love the nose. The nose really speaks to me more sort of in fruit forward. But I think the palate is definitely showing a little bit more of the oak influence as well. It's got the weight, it's got the texture, it's sort of reacting over here, which means that it's it's got some tannins, and tannins by definition precipitate and binds with proteins, so it's reacting with your salivary glands there as well. I really, 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 really like it. Would I drink it on a hot summer's day? Probably not, to be honest. And again, we're not here to sell wine. We're here to educate and get you to think what you like and drink what you like, how you like, when you like. But this would be a great sort of fall wine. We always talk about drinking wine on its own, and you can. But I really also would say that this would be a great food wine. Sort of braised and herbaceous chicken, monkfish, fish that has a little bit more texture and oil. You can do sort of battered, beer battered fish, anything like that. I think it would go well with sort of creamy dishes. I think you could get away with sort of earthier dishes as well. I would love to see how this would go with like a pasta with sort of Parmesan, and then sort of shaved, what do you call those mushrooms, the fancy schmancy mushrooms in there as well. I think this would be a really wonderful kind of food wine. And I think when it gets a little bit cooler and you want sort of a heartier wine, probably this was really, really, it's going to come into its own. Where like the V squared and the Viognier and the Chardonnay, they would do is really bright and vibrant, and you want to drink it, and 3 bottles later. This really is a bit more serious, maybe not as fruit forward, but it has the structure, it has the weight, and I think this would do really well with food. But I would truffles. Thank you. Tracy and Kevin both said truffles. God, you see, I don't eat truffles, don't even know what they're called really. But I'm really, really, really excited. Now, the 19 should be a little bit different, right? So, yeah, very different. The 19 is bright, it's vibrant. I think it shows a little bit of our winemaking change philosophically. Picking grapes a little bit earlier, conserving natural acidity. And the big thing is, there's no oak in this as well. So with this, the palate definitely got weight, texture, richness, more sort of hedonistic kind of white. And the 19, definitely bright, juicy, acidic, great summertime white. If you haven't been to the winery yet, the 2019 has just been released. It's 78% Viognier, which again probably kind of justifies why this is a bit more fruit forward and a little bit more aromatic. The remainder of it is Vidal, but it's tank fermented as well. So two different wines. The Trevillian, both are sort of the press fractions. I'd hate to say sort of throwaway kind of lots, but it's the lot that we deem that really doesn't quite kind of make it into our reserve or our Viognier range. So our Viognier, our Vidal that we've made in the past, the Chardonnay, that's always the free run, the light, and maybe the mid fraction. But all the stuff that remains, I think we combine it together, we blend it together, and I'm really, really quite surprised that the 17 is as good as it is, considering. But I do like the 19 as well. The 19, very vibrant, a little bit more fruit forward, definitely more acidic. Doesn't have the weight and the texture of the 17, which again, because of the oak versus the tank. But that's it. That's the Trevillian. So it shows you that sometimes the whole is greater than the sum of its parts. And isn't that so amazing that we take away little things that we don't think are good enough, you combine them, and you find something that's quite bloody delicious. Yeah, it's good. So let me see. The percentage of 2019, again, it's 78% Viognier, Linda Irvin, and 22% Vidal Blanc. Adam Rockhill says 19 Signature Series Viognier. Adam, unfortunately, we did not make a reserve or a Signature Series Viognier. We did the Le Vendange Viognier, the 19, which I really love, and the 19 Viognier. Yeah, so that's about it. Let's take some questions. So I have my beautiful... Oh, Kevin said, have you had the Mountain Plains White Blend from King Family Vineyard? Funny story. I was actually there on Saturday with my wife and family. And Mountain Plains White, Red, and 2012 Meritage. I have had it. I think it's phenomenal. It's a wonderful blend. I love their Roseland as well, which is their Viognier Chardonnay Petite Manseng. And better than the wines, they're incredible people. Ellen, James, Carrington, and Stuart. And obviously David, the matriarch. Phenomenal people, phenomenal winery. Mathieu Finot, incredible winemaker. You should really go check them out if you can. So... let me see, sweetheart. Shall we take some questions and answer a few? And then we're going to talk to you about how you can get these two. And then we're going to talk about the bundle for the next 4 tastings. And then we're going to talk about what we've been up to, because we've just bottled our exclusive, big estate reds, our 17 Heritage, our 17 Cab, our Cab Franc Reserve, our Merlot Reserve, and then our first ever ice wine from Petite Manseng, which is really exciting. So let's take some questions. Let me tell you about how you can get these wines, the bundle that we're offering, and then finish up. So what questions there, love?
Dave Maddox is drinking the non-vintage Trevillian. Wanted to know what blend of years it was.
Ooh. Dave Maddox said he is drinking the Trevillian and it does not have a vintage on it. What was the blend? And I believe that was a blend of 16 and 17. But I am going to have to go back, Dave, and double check that, and I will respond to you after the fact. I will write to you. But I believe it was 16 and 17 or 15 and 16. But I'll get back with you. How is it? I haven't had the Trevillian non-vintage for a while. I hope it's doing well. But I will double check. But I do believe it was 15, 16, 16, 17, somewhere there.
And then Sylvia Miller asked, what's the pressure of the first press you run?
That's a great question. The question from Sylvia is the first press. So we can do it in a couple of ways. So the press has a lot of automated press programs that you can put it in. Could be very quick, could be slow and gentle. Generally it goes from, the fruit goes in, we tumble. The juice that comes out is, again, the free run. The first pressure point is 0.2 bar, and it goes up to 2. So generally goes 0.2, 0.4, 0.6, 0.8, 1.1, and 1.4, 1.7, and 2. What we've been doing more of is actually manually pressing, pressing for shorter amount of times, tumbling the fruit a little bit more, pressing, again, very, very, very gently. So we actually don't rely on sort of a program anymore. We do a lot of very sort of gentle pressings, but 0.2 is generally where we start. So great question, Sylvia. I hope you're doing well, and God bless. So, cool.
And then Danago asked if you could explain what you mean by making wine reductively.
So, Donegoff, how do you make wines reductively or oxidatively? Obviously, oxygen and reduction. An oxidative winemaking is where you rarely use oxygen and you introduce oxygen into. Red wines would be a classic example. Now when you make wines reductively, you want to avoid oxygen. So you're trying to displace whatever environment that juice in where it could be exposed to oxygen. You're trying to displace that. So we use gases, whether it be argon, carbon dioxide, or nitrogen to gas the tank. Displaces the oxygen because those gases are heavier than oxygen. It basically prevents what oxygen does to a juice. So we're making wine somewhat reductively. The other way we do it is we don't feed the wine as much. So some of the reductive tones we can get are sort of thiols. Thiols are sulfhydryl kind of components, also known as mercaptans. And mercaptans, follow H2S, which is hydrogen sulfide, excuse me. Why am I kind of tripping over my own words here? And those are what we call VSCs, or volatile sulfur compounds. And H2S smells like rotten eggs. It's what they put in propane tanks to know you have a leak. But with something like V squared, we want those sort of reductive tones, those thiolytic mercaptans, which are sort of those flinty gunsmoke kind of characters, which are really, really kind of intriguing. So unlike reds, where we're really oxygenating the must and pumping over and punching down and using oxygen, with some of the whites, we're trying to keep oxygen away. And if we're making wines like that, that's making wines reductively versus oxidatively. I hope I answered the questions. But Donna, you've been on all of these, and we appreciate your support. So thank you so much. I hope you're doing well. All right.
Erica Johansson said that she actually did see some crystals on the cork of the 2017.
Oh.
Talking about cold stabilizing it.
Yeah, so you might... who was that, by the way? I'm sorry?
Erica
said she did see some crystals. I'm having a look at mine. Not on mine. It'd be interesting to see, did you pop that into the freezer prior to opening it? But yeah, those are potassium bitartrate crystals. They're absolutely harmless. If the wine warms up, they'll dissolve again. But that's what we're trying to pull out of the wine. That's what we do when we cold stabilize as well. So I don't have any on my cork, but it's quite possible that they are. But absolutely harmless. They're not really going to change the organoleptic characteristics of the wine. And yeah, so some of our wines do throw out some crystals, and we try very hard to make sure that doesn't happen. But on occasion, it does.
It really depends on how much they chill it.
Yeah, so we, Kath's saying it depends on how we chill it, and sometimes we have issues where our chiller goes, it's cold and then it warms up, and it's prior to bottling, so it does happen, but we do try and work really hard to make sure that the wine is cold stable, and again, also to be protein stable, and at the end of the day, what we're trying to do is to best protect and give you the best drinking experience as well. Again, we could make certain wines unfiltered, but that cloudiness, the haziness in the wine is somewhat off-putting. But don't be afraid of the crystals, or wine diamonds, as someone somewhat calls it. But for the most part, our wines are stable. We work hard and try and make sure it is. But on occasion, you're going to have some crystals on the cork, but nothing to worry about whatsoever.
Kevin Norfleet asked, what other vintages of Trevillian white have you made?
Pop quiz. We didn't do Kevin Norfleet, by the way. Kevin and Drew, dear friends of ours in PA. I hope you guys are doing well. The question was Trevillian white in the vintages window. So I know we did one in 19, obviously. 18 we did not. 17 we did, I believe 16 and 15. And I think 14 as well. Now beyond that, it's a bit hazy. So I'm not 100% sure, to be honest with you, Kevin. I will, again, along with Dave's question, I will find the answer and I'll give you the proper answer and I'll write back to you. But we've made a few vintages. It's not a wine we do each and every year. But I will double check and get the right answer for you, and I will post that. I'll kind of write to you personally tomorrow just to say hi, and I'll give you the answer to that. But great question, and a little bit stumped, to be honest. So I don't know the answer.
Andy Reagan is watching.
Oh my God, Andy Reagan.
He wants to know how many grapes are in a bottle of wine.
About 2.2 pounds per bottle. What do you think, Andy? Is that about right? About a kilogram per bottle of wine. So generally we're getting off a ton of grapes, which is 2,000 pounds or 2,200 pounds if you're going metric, and you're getting around 750 bottles. So we'll have to work that out a little bit as well. So yeah, I would say about a kilogram or 2.2 to 2.5 pounds per bottle. But just want to say a shout out to Mr. Andy Reagan, obviously dear friend of Katz and I, a super nice guy, hell of a winemaker, and I hope you're doing well, buddy. And you know, you're obviously very bored. You've got not much to do tonight if you're watching us, but appreciate you being here. So thank you, Ben. All right. Let's see.
Bill Long asked, do you make a Carmenere varietal?
Do we make a...
Carmenere?
Carmenere? C-A-R-M-E-N-E-R-E? Do we make that varietal? I'm not 100% sure. If you're talking about Carmenere, the Bordeaux grape that's very famous in Chile, we do not. But is that the varietal we're talking about? Cat's kind of going, oh, I don't know. Again, we'll have a look at the comment, but Carmenere, we do not. The only Bordeaux grapes, if that's what you're asking, the only Bordeaux grapes we have are Cab Franc Merlot, and Petit Verdot. We had Malbec, and we pulled that out of the ground. But Carmenere, I don't know if anyone in Virginia is growing that varietal.
I think it's just Carmenere.
I don't know. All right. Okay, so 7:45, and we'll take a few more questions, but a lot of people asking about the bundle. So firstly, let's talk about the two wines, of which there are limited amounts. So the 19 and the 17, the Trevillian. Again, the 17 is Chardonnay, Viognier, Vidal, Chamonix, and Verdejo. The 19 is mostly Viognier, 78%, with 22% Vidal Blanc. It is $50, and you've got to be in the wine club. And the only reason we're doing that is because we've got such limited quantity. It's first come, first served. It's 50 bones for 2 bottles of wine. The 19, which I really love. The 17, which is actually quite intriguing and interesting. First come, first served, but you have to be a wine club member. It's on the website, keswickvineyards.com. I'm not sure if to log in. If you have any issues, give us a call. The Keswick, the tasting room, Karen or Sarah would be happy to help you. So the bundle, this is actually the last of the last bundle that we did. So we have, we've been thinking, because we have some incredible wines that are going to come out in bundles in the next couple of months. Like I said, we've got the 17 Cab, the 17 Heritage, the Merlots, the Cab Francs, the Reserves. But we thought, let's give those wines a little bit of time. So let's create a bundle that I think is going to be quite intriguing, diverse, and here it is. So the first one is our 2019 Estate Reserve Rosé, which is our barrel fermented Touriga Nacional. Then our 2019 Estate Reserve Chardonnay, and I will say this unequivocally, I think it's the best Chardonnay we have ever made. I am so excited to kind of share it with you in the next couple of months when it gets released. Then we're talking about our 2019 Merlot. Again, really builds upon the 14 and the 17 vintages. And then we thought, you know what, we haven't done it yet, and it's going to be a while before you get it. The fourth wine we're going to do is our dessert wine. It's our ice wine Petite Manseng. And that's the bundle. It's about $150 retail, and you can get it for $105. And that's it. And again, it's on the page. And again, if you're a wine club member, a non-wine club member, 105. And if you are a wine club member, we're going to give you really, really wonderful discounts every time we try it. So again, it's the 19 Rosé, the 19 Chardonnay State Reserve, the 19 Merlot, and the 19 Petit Manseng dessert wine that we call Nectar. So next week, and we're going to taste in that order. So next week, it's Rosé, then the Chardonnay, then the Merlot, and we're going to finish up the dessert. And then after that, we're really going to bring out the heavy hitters. So a question was, how do we join the wine club? I don't know who answered that, but very simply, you can do it online. There's no fee to join. Your discounts kick in immediately. You can have 2 bottles a month. It's a flat fee, to let you know what you're getting in the next couple. Today we processed, the Petit Verdot is coming your way. You've got, like I said, 2 Merlots, the Merlot and the Merlot Reserve, the Cab Franc and the Cab Franc Reserve, the 17 Heritage, 3-year aged Heritage, the 3-year aged Cab, and then we have 3 exclusive wines just to the wine club, and that's our Block 7 Merlot, our Block 7 Cab Franc, and our Block 2 Cab Franc. So it's like $50 and you get 2 bottles. We can ship it to you, or you can come and visit us. You get those wonderful discounts, and you only have to be in the club for 6 months. But we know you're going to stay longer because you're joining a family, a community. You're going to meet some incredible people. You're going to have some incredible wines. And again, you also get 50% off on your anniversary and your birthday month. How cool is that? Off anything. So you can take $75 for our cab and you get it for $37.50 in your birthday month. So very simple. I think there's incredible benefits. I think knowing the wines that you're going to get in the next couple of months, it's going to be well worth joining the wine club. We'd love to have you. And if you don't like 2 bottles a month, that's quite okay. You can do it every other month, and that's the silver membership as well. So yeah. Linda said, what is the residual sugar for each of the vintages? So on the 17, it's 0.3%, which is 3 grams per liter. And on the 2019 is 0.1, which is 1 gram per liter. So they are chemically dry. You're not going to taste any sugar, any sort of kind of sweetness from that as well. So Suzanne Barber, is there a dream blend you would like to make? GSM. And when you're talking about GSM, you're talking about Grenache, Syrah, and Mourvedre, I would imagine. The wines of the Southern Rhone, very famously in like Châteauneuf-du-Pape. I would love to work with Grenache and Mourvedre. Carmenere, Erica Johansson said Cassinel is doing Carmenere. Well, there's the new fact of the day. I never knew that. The blend I would love to do, I don't know. I don't know. That's a great question. I love Syrah, but we don't grow it. The blend that I'm really enjoying playing around with is our heritage. So I think I've made it on our property. But I think, a varietal that I'd really, really want to get my hands into and really play around with if I could is Pinot Noir. I think that's a varietal that's really intriguing and really one I'd like to cut my teeth into as well. But on our property, obviously, our blend, we do very little blending. The Heritage this year afforded me the opportunity to really play around. And in 17, we did 2, which we just couldn't pick. We did a Merlot-based one, and then we've just bottled our Cabernet-based Heritage, which is 85% Cabernet, 7.5% Cab Franc, 7.5% Merlot. It spent 34 months in a barrel. It is big, it's bold, it's brooding like midnight. You're going to love it. Anything else on our property? This Trevillian is such a cool one. Obviously not intended, but the blend of Viognier, Chardonnay, Vidal, Chamonix, and Verdeo is quite interesting as well. So there you go. Let's see. There's Cindy. So again, there's a little bit of confusion. The 2 Trevillian whites are $50. And that's first come, first serve for wine club members, the 17 and the 19. The bundle, which includes the 4 wines, which are the next 4 tasting Tuesdays, that's the Rosé, the Chardonnay, the Merlot, and the dessert wine, that is $105. It's about 33% discount. It's a great value. I think they're incredible wines. So there we go. So let's see if they're... Jessica says, you seem to have partner wines each week. What would be good as companion wines each week? Let me see. What do we mean? So, what would partner the rosé that we pour? Is that what you mean? Or
like this bundle had the 17, but you open the 19.
Oh, yeah. So all the next bundle, all the 19 vintage wines. So they really are the newest wines. So we don't have any other wines to open up and partner. What I really like to do, Jessica, is really see the evolution of our wines and our styles. I think you can see it with the 17 through the 19, but the bundle where it's all the 19 vintages, that's the current vintage. We might open up maybe some older wines. I've got a 10 and a 14 and a 17 Merlot that would be killer to compare with the Merlot, and I've still got a 2002 and a couple of older nectar wines. That would be really interesting to see how those dessert wines have changed almost 20 years down the bottle. Yeah, Kat just posted the products and the bundles. Again, if you have any questions, give us a call. If you're having problems, give us a call. But get on our website, keswickvineyards.com, and let us know. At the end of the day, we want you to be happy. We want to answer your questions and hope from that. So let's see what else there is. Beth Smith says, I love the wine club. We appreciate that. Mary says, I love Pinot Noir. It does mean if I'm going to go make Pinot Noir, Mary, I'm going to have to leave Keswick Vineyards, and I don't want to. I love Virginia way too much, but if you like Virginia Pinot Noir, I would check out what Nathan and family are doing at Ankita Ridge. I think they are incredible. I believe Gabriele Rossi makes a Pinot Noir that's to die for as well, so check it out. Kevin says not many wineries grow Pinot Noir in Virginia. Absolutely right. Our climate just really doesn't, suit that grape. There are exceptions to the rule, as there are anyway. And like I said, Ankita Ridge, I think, is the benchmark. I think Trump Winery grows Pinot Noir. I know Gabriele does. I think maybe Blenheim does a little bit. So So let's see. All right. So what do you guys think? Are you still having fun with these tastings? Are you enjoying yourselves? We will do it as long as you allow us to. What did you think of the 17 Trevillian? I'm always interested to hear. And again, I don't mind negativity and criticism as well. We want to learn. We want to get better. That's the intention as well. So so Lanny just said the bundle, including the tax and everything, is $110.57. Thank you so much, Lanny. And Beth Smith says, then you need to skip Pinot Noir. Not going anywhere, Beth. Like I said, family winery, still got a lot to do. Still got a lot of sort of, advances to make and better wines to make, which I'm really excited about. So I love Virginia way too much. But as a bucket list, I'd love to grow Pinot. So what I need to do is to find someone with an incredible piece of property high up in the mountains who will plant Pinot Noir and allow me to make the wine from there as well. So Donna Goff says, Oxeye Vineyards also grows Pinot, Afton Mountain too. Absolutely right. I forgot about Afton Mountain. Damien Blanchard and the Smiths over there, they do incredible jobs there as well. So so what else is there? Who else is there? Did I miss any questions, love? Is there one or two more that we can take?
There's some questions about other wines people are drinking. Jessica Joyner asked, she opened up a 2019 Reeves Red, and it was slightly effervescent. Is that to be expected?
Yeah, so with the question is, someone opened up our Reeves Red and it's a little bit carbonated. That is not anything to be worried about. With the V Squared and the Le Vendange wines, we actually bottle the wines under a little bit of pressure. Just makes the wine pop a little bit more, makes it a little bit more vibrant. Certainly you won't find that sort of effervescence or that spritziness on our high-end wines as well. To be expected on the Le Vendange range, the V Squared, and some of the tank wines as well. So absolutely fine. But one of my favorite wines, a pretty little Cabernet under the Le Vendange Reeves Red label, and I hope you're enjoying it. So it was a fun wine to make. All right. See what else we have.
Alison Turkle says she's going to be visiting you the week of September 13th.
Well, Alison is going to come visit us. Alison, please let us know when you're there. Obviously, we have done as much as we can do to make sure that you can visit us safely. We're following all guidelines. Just to let you know, I know with COVID and the cases exploding, people are a little bit nervous to come out. And a couple of reasons. Just by the way, Saturday this coming up, We have an incredible food truck. Pharmacy is going to be at Keswick Vineyards. They make their burrito, their vegetarian burrito is to die for. And then we have music. The weather's going to be beautiful. The wine's going to be chilled. And you can come visit us because we are practicing all the guidelines. We're washing down. We're socially distancing. We're following all the CDC guidelines. And want to let you know, just by the way, if you want to visit us, you are welcome. We would love to have you. And I guarantee, along with our family and our staff and Al and Cindy, that we have done everything possible to make sure that you and your loved ones are safe and sound, and that you can enjoy the wines in an environment that doesn't put you at risk. And I just want to let people know that along with a lot of other wineries, all businesses are doing everything that we can, but we, along with everybody else, are doing what we can to make sure that we can stay open, give you the wines, still kind of, forge those relationships, which are really important, but do it in a way that's very, very safe. So Alison, if you're going to join us, let us know. I'd love to come and say hello to you, and we would love to have you there as well. So, yeah. So let's, John Ferguson says, are you open tomorrow? We are indeed, sir. From 10 to 5. We're open 7 days a week. We really only close unless there's inclement weather, like tornadoes, which we had a couple of weeks ago. But, Thanksgiving, Easter, and New Year's and Christmas are really the only days. We are open 10 to 5. Hours might change a little bit in the winter, but right now it's 10 to 5. So, we would love to have you. Kevin Norfleet says, pharmacy, yeah. Incredible food. They're going to be at Keswick this Saturday. We also have a gentleman, bringing out, there's going to be cigars, there's going to be music, and again, incredible weather. It's going to be kind of intriguing and interesting to see the sun, which I felt like we haven't had for a while, but it promises to be an incredible weekend. Let's see. Pet friendly, we are, you can bring your dogs. We have an area designated for your dogs. They can be on a leash that you can keep them at the side of your table there as well. So absolutely no need to leave your kind of furry pets at home. Bring them with you. Just make sure they're on a leash. And again, we want to make sure that you can bring them, but we want to make sure the experience for other people is just as important as well. The question was the cigar guy.
Elite Sticks.
It's Ryan's Washington, Camille, and his company is called Elite
Sticks.
Elite Sticks. Check them out on Facebook. Ryan's and Camille are amazing people. They're incredible people. Another reason to come in. So yeah. So again, you want a big sort of red with a cigar or a white and a cigar. He's gonna kind of pair it with you. You're gonna have fun. So if you like cigars, there's another reason to come and visit us. So yeah, let's see. I hope to see you tomorrow. Will you have the tasting packs available, John? Yes. If you want to pick up your pack, the rosé, the chard, the dessert, and the merlot tomorrow, we would be happy to have that ready for you. Let me know. I will be around. And yeah, Suzanne Barber says, can I bring my cats? That's a great question.
I used to bring my parrot.
My wife used to bring our parrot to the winery. So I don't know if your cat would enjoy being on a leash and being around all the dogs, but why the heck not, right? Anyway, so let's see what else there is. It's 7:59. An hour goes by so quickly. So I have a few things to kind of shout out and say. And that requires another glass of wine. So let's do that, because they say conversation without wine is just called gossiping. Again, as always, first and foremost, we just want to say thank you. We want to say thank you to you, the customer, friends, and our family. I hope that's how you feel when you come to Keswick. I hope that's how you get treated. We know you have options. We know there are a lot of incredible wineries, distilleries, cideries, and beer and breweries in Virginia. We really appreciate the fact that you give us any time, that you buy our wine, that you come visit us. That is something we never take for granted. So thank you. The other thing is, obviously, be safe. Look after yourselves. Tell people you love them. Give people hugs. Reach out on the phone to someone you haven't reached out for a while. It's the world is a bit of a scary place, an unknown kind of place at the moment. Who knows what the future looks like? So all we can do is be the best we can be, and do what we need to do. So let's be safe, and I hope you are. I hope you're happy. I hope you're doing well. I hope your families are safe. And, I just want to say God bless from all of us. So, yeah, thanks, guys and girls and everybody out there. We appreciate it. Drink Virginia wine. Thank you for supporting Keswick. Someone says, where is Alakai? And I think Kath has got to get him. Virginia Wine Time says, we got to go. So Paul and Warren, absolutely. Thank you for joining us. God bless you guys as well. Alakai is being summoned. I think he's coming. So hang on. Let's see. Oh, there's the big boy. There's the big boy. Oh, there's the big boy. There's Mr. Alakai. 2 months, just over 2 months. Almost 15 pounds. He looks like a little mini Brian Urlacher, the linebacker of the Chicago kind of Bears. But he's amazing. He's amazing when he's quiet. He's amazing when he sleeps. Less amazing at 2 in the morning when he's screaming. But we're blessed. We're grateful. And he is just a beautiful bundle of joy. And yeah, thank God he looks like my wife. He's going to be beautiful. And he's doing amazingly well. Is he smiling? I don't know. I can't see. But there is Alakai Reese, and yeah, he's doing phenomenally well, and Mama is doing well. Mama is amazing and incredible and looking after him, and holds is certainly the rock star in this family. But you know what? He never burps, so now he's going to burp online. But there he goes. Mwah. So that's our boy with our little growing family. So there's Alakai. So let's do this. Let's plan to meet here next week. 6 days and 23 hours, if it's okay with you. Again, just to reiterate, $50 for the 2 Trevillians if you like it, 17 and 19. First come, first served. Wine Club members only. If you're not a Wine Club member, think of joining. No pressure, but it's going to be one of the best decisions you make. And then the bundle, again, someone's asking, can you repeat? Absolutely. It's the Estate Reserve barrel fermented Touriga Rosé. Then it's our Chardonnay that I will say is the best Chardonnay we've made. The 19 Merlot just builds upon the incredible 14 and 17. And then I'm super excited because we don't do nectar a lot. But we've just bottled our nectar, which is 100% Petite Manseng, made in an ice wine style. And those are the 4 wines. And again, it's like 100 and 105. It's normally like 150 odd retail. So great value. That's about it. Nothing more to say. You guys are amazing. You guys are incredible. We love all of you. We appreciate all of you. I appreciate my wife. I appreciate my daughter and my son. I appreciate all the staff that I work with. Keswick's an incredible place with incredible people. My job is so much easier. It's an absolute pleasure to try and taste and drink wine with you. And God bless you guys. All of you guys. Have a wonderful week. Drink good wine, drink Virginia wine, and I'll see you right here in 6 days and 23 hours. But until then, go out and change the world for the better. See ya.